Welcome, everybody, to another podcast. Today, with us, Ryan Jarouche. Ryan Jarouche. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, man. It's good to be here.
I was surprised to get you because you've been moving so much,
Yeah.
and it's hard to bring you here in this room. So,
I'm glad the timing worked out. I come home as much as possible, about, 4 times a year.
okay,
And then my parents come and see me twice a year, and
it's nice.
that's a lot, for me. They want more, but I come home more than anybody that I know that lives in New York. So I was in Chicago this weekend and I was able to take the train here to
I
see
took
my
the
mom and
train. Yeah,
dad, and
it's good.
it's good. It's better than taking the plane,
I
but
agree.
it smells worse, but it's quick, so it's not too
Yeah,
bad.
especially some moments, some key passengers on the train aren't that
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. It's a great place for them to sleep across the country. Just
Exactly.
do what they need to do.
And I'm glad you came out because I know you're a little sick, and
Yeah, yeah,
everybody's been kind of sick.
yeah. It's going around. I feel like during the COVID years, we forgot what sickness was like.
Right. I
You were
think
either healthy or you had COVID,
I think it got worse.
and then now we're all getting sick left and right.
Right. I got you like water and tea and
Thank you, man.
trying to
You got all the cool mugs too.
pump you up. Yeah, they're all handcrafted. They're all cool, nice artistic mugs.
Thanks, man.
Let's get into who you are. I think you guys are kind of like the most not discreet because
Yeah,
you guys are very open, you're honest people,
yeah,
family, but like the hardest to get to know because like
yeah,
you guys are so far away.
yeah.
You guys didn't really grow up in Detroit. So I guess I let you start off with tell me when you were born, what year, date, give me a
Yeah.
birth date.
I was born May 5th, 1995. I got a birthday coming up.
Okay, that's right.
The 28th coming up. I was born 5/5/95 at 5:09. So my mom.
My mom is born 5/5/55.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, she has me beat.
Yeah,
I love
1950.
that.
Yeah, 5/5/55.
That's awesome. I didn't realize me and your mom shared a birthday.
Yeah,
That's
you guys share
that's
a
that's
birthday.
awesome. Yeah. Born in Michigan, lived my entire life in Michigan.
What part of Michigan?
Born in Royal Oak, but lived in Northville, Michigan,
Okay.
until I was 18 and moved to Ann Arbor for college.
Okay.
But yeah,
University of Michigan?
University of Michigan.
I
Yeah.
can't say go blue. I'm a Buckeye.
I know you are. Past
Uh,
couple of years have worked out well for us.
yes, you guys
And
been
you're about
winning.
to lose 3 years in a row.
Yeah, you know what?
And it's
I'm
gonna suck for you.
okay.
You
I'm okay with that.
you say you're okay, but I know how much it's gonna hurt because we lost many times in a row. So I
That's one
I feel
thing, and I think I've kind of detached myself from sports a little
yeah.
bit. I'm
Yeah.
not so I don't beat myself up anymore.
The crazy thing is the transition of when you become older than the athletes.
Right.
And then you're like, how mad can I get at this 19-year-old
Who
for
barely knows how to play this
for
game.
dropping this pass? And
Right.
he's got class tomorrow. He might be failing some algebra
And
class.
only 1% make it to the NFL.
1% makes the NFL. How mad at him can I really get? So
Right.
I've started to let go a little bit, but that Saturday after Thanksgiving,
I don't even watch the games anymore. Don't get me started. Okay.
yeah,
University of Michigan. Growing up in high school in Northwood, Muslim,
Northville,
Sultani,
yeah,
Northville.
Northville,
Kind of give me like a breakdown, your experience. Like, it's very
yeah.
American over there.
Very, very American, very white,
Right.
Asian heavy, but mostly white. I mean, even the name Northville, you think white. Um, it was good, man. I think we were the perfect distance between, 30 minutes away from Dearborn, 1 hour away from Toledo.
Yeah.
You can get shawarma whenever you wanted in Dearborn, and we can come see our cousins,
The Sultan
Sartubadim and
community
Amu Joe
here.
and everybody
Right.
here in Toledo when we wanted. And at the same time, we had the distance to kind of forge our own paths, play the sports we wanted to play and get involved in the clubs we wanted to get involved in and focus on school and our futures. When time came to apply for college, for example, it was never really a thought to go to U of M Dearborn or to
Mm.
stay close to home because we had spent our entire lives this perfect distance away, with ourselves and away from our family. So going to Ann Arbor was very natural for us, and me and my brother Jad went there, and then Jad went to Dearborn. Um, but there are definitely pros and cons. I it's tough to grow up Arab in a white community. You have to challenge everything. We're the post 9/11 generation. I was
Right.
6 years old when that happened, and You got to challenge every belief that you have, every worldview that you have.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. You're hearing one thing at home and from your family and your cousins, and you're hearing another thing in school. And
Yeah, because when you're in
yeah,
school, you're there most of the time, and that's where a lot of influence is happening
yeah,
in school,
yeah,
right? You're walking down the hallway, who's
yeah,
got what, who's driving this, whose
yeah.
dad is this, and it's
Right.
like, especially in your guys' place, I feel like it's more of a middle upper class area.
Yeah,
S-
definitely more upper class. It's one of the Detroit suburbs where all
I feel
the
like
auto
everybody's
execs live.
competitive, right? And like you
Very
throw your
competitive.
kids in these schools. You didn't go to a private school, you went to public.
No, no, we went to one of the best public school systems in Michigan, and I'm a huge fan of public schools. If you can get, into a good school district, I think it's one of the cheat codes to life here in the Midwest. We have great public schools here if you're in the right neighborhood, and that's what you should do. And it worked out for us. But yeah, man, it's competitive, and you have to find your own identity. An identity can't be given to you because there are two competing voices on everything.
Do you feel like you have two different personalities? You're Ryan
I think
Jarouche
I
and
have
then
more than two.
Ryan.
I think I have more than two. I think
Okay,
I have.
give me a perspective. Give me like
Yeah, but I really believe. I think it's actually it might be a Japanese saying that you are a different man in every room, or you are who you are in that room. And I really believe that you're somebody different to everybody. I'm somebody to my mom and dad. I'm somebody to my brothers. To my brothers, I'm the oldest. I try to be their mentor. I try to guide them wherever I can. To my mom, I'm her oldest son and her pride and joy. And to my dad, I'm his friend, which is a bit of a different experience growing up. Now being able to be his friend. To my colleagues, for example, at work would describe me as calm. My brothers would never describe me as calm. I have my white Ryan side, I have my Ara Brian side, and I'm honestly very proud of both. I
right.
love my heritage. I love my identity. I love where I come from. I study it religiously, and I want as much of it as I possibly can. But I like what I've been able to achieve by branching out a little bit and succeeding in a different world and in a different way. Um, because I think that the natural next step for our community here is to begin to succeed in more places. We've done a really good job as first and second generation immigrant communities. We have a great connection with our family members here. We have common gathering places like Sultan Club, and we have some really successful community members. The natural next step, though, is the younger kids branching out a little bit and broadening their horizons and, for lack of a better word, up leveling their family experience and direction. Uh, and that's what I've always tried to do. I've always wanted to chase the next achievement, succeed in the next space. If there's an environment that I feel too comfortable in, or like I know too much, or I'm very successful and I try to get out of it as quickly as possible. I'm very comfortable being bad at things, and I try to surround myself with those people. And so that's what I've tried to do. But it does mean that I have different sides of myself, and everybody sees something a little bit different. And my closest friends and family are the ones who see all the sides of me
Mm.
and appreciate me for them. But the distinctions definitely exist.
Because I have a hard issue with that, right?
Yeah,
Right, Mike versus Muhammad,
yeah,
Muhammad Ayish, blah blah blah, and it's just like when I speak Arabic, I speak it in a different tone, like I'm a
yeah.
different
Isn't that
person.
amazing?
So that Japanese saying that you brought up kind of makes sense, right? You're a different person somewhere else, right? In any
Mm-hmm.
room, in any behind the camera, behind whatever it is,
Yeah,
you are a little different,
you're a
right?
little you're a little bit different. It really is amazing, and it's kind of inspiring because if there's a side of you that you don't like or something that you want to work on, you can. You can work on it. You can be somebody different to somebody else.
My problem is I'm either scared,
Yeah,
so I hate that other side,
yeah,
or maybe I don't have a positive outlook. Maybe my angles, my perspective is just dark or wrong.
yeah,
Instead of thinking, no, you should be proud. You should
yeah,
be like, hey, encourage. Like this is a great thing.
Yeah.
I mean, look at you could be two different people instead of thinking, man, I got
How amazing is that?
two personalities. I don't know who I want to be.
Man, I think it's actually part of the success of Lebanese people all over the world.
It's actually a good
We
point.
are one of the most successful immigrant communities anywhere in the world. The two countries where we somewhat have, a low class, a middle class, and an upper class, there are two places in the world, Lebanon and the USA, right? We do well wherever we go, I think, because we are chameleons. We can become whatever is needed of us. And we can form connections with people who think different than us, look different than us. We should embrace that. I think it's one of our strengths.
Hmm. Interesting thought or look, right? It
Yeah.
makes me check myself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you grew up, great school system.
Yeah.
Did you really have any issues in high school, or does everybody kind of
Uh,
like,
yeah.
were you picked on as a kid? Were you
Yeah. I wasn't, school was tough for me. School was really, really tough for me.
more
I
perspective?
wasn't picked on. I mean, maybe I was more than, but not more than any other kid.
Yeah.
But I just, I didn't like myself very much. I was a super, super shy, really cripplingly shy kid in that environment. That goes back to maybe with my cousins I was a different way, but in my school environment in Northville, I was very shy. I was very unsure of myself in every move that I made, every thought that I had. Uh, I constantly worried about what people thought of me. Um,
As any 16, 18-year-old
Is
kid?
anybody? Yeah, yeah. And I didn't have very many friends in Northville. I always had a difficult time making friends when I was a kid. I think in middle school and high school, I had, you can count on one hand or even a few fingers the number of friends that I really had.
Do you think it helps having that Sultan community, or like going Beit Adam, or having
Yeah,
Adam and just your cousins, and just to fill a little gap, like
possibly,
like I got
possibly.
something?
But it also, I think, made me a little stagnant,
Hmm.
where I didn't need to push myself a little bit more to find community because I had my cousins and I had my a big family back home and I had, all of that. And I don't know what combination of things it was that led me to have that outlook, but it was tough. It was really, really tough. I mean, I know you've been getting really open with people on these things, and I've really
Trying.
appreciated that, man. And
I think there's a perspective we all can get.
yeah,
Maybe somebody hears something that they like or don't like, and
yeah.
it just brings up a topic, right?
I mean, man, there's a huge mental health thing that we are not talking about as much as I think we should in our community. And I am a poster child for that. I was in therapy as a younger kid. I was on the meds.
That's
I
interesting.
was, uh, you know, I won't go too far into it. Maybe later, you and me, but I went through the ringer on it, and my family went through the ringer,
Yeah, because we're
watching me
first
go
time kid.
through
You're
it,
the
and
oldest. We don't know
oh
what's
my
wrong
God,
with Ryan. Why is he?
yeah. I mean, shit.
Maybe he got the ADHD. Maybe he has this. You know how doctors
Yeah,
back in the day,
yeah.
especially, were prescribing these kids like, "Oh, you want to shut your kid up? Here you go."
Yeah, yeah. It was a lot, and we went through a lot of different diagnoses and medication combinations, and I got to a point where things got really bad,
Hmm.
and there was a time when I was not going to graduate high school, and I had been accepted into Michigan, and my dream school, one of the best schools in the country, and obviously I'm very proud of what I've been able to achieve since then. But 17-year-old me, I was in counselor's office trying to figure out how to get enough credits to graduate because I couldn't go to class anymore. I was,
Whoa.
and it's
I did not
it's
know that.
it was a really low point. And the reason that I didn't share that really with anybody for a long time, but I've started to recently because I think that we are having, and I talk about this with a lot of my friends, we are having a young men crisis in our country. Our boys are depressed, they're suicidal, they're not graduating, they're not doing well in school, they're not going to college. They're lacking a purpose, and we as an American Western society have not given them uh, a true purpose or ability to understand themselves and their feelings. And I think we in our community have failed them on a deeper level because we're combining that with preconceived notions of what a man should be
Right.
and what feelings we should have and what things we should pursue and the way we should treat
It's
people.
just cookie cutter. This is the book. This is how
Cookie
you should
cutter.
be.
Cookie cutter.
If you're not this,
Yeah. I've started talking about it more because I feel like I owe it to people to talk about it more.
yeah, because nobody wants to
I
talk about this.
Yeah, my path was not straight. My path is not over. I still deal with things all the time. I'm still in therapy. I see a therapist every week. I'm lucky enough to work at a company that pays for it. Therapy can get a little expensive, but
Yeah,
I
good therapists
yeah,
cost
good
money.
therapist. Yeah, yeah,
It's very taboo for a lot of men or women to even think about therapy, right?
yeah,
I thought of it like that. Like,
absolutely.
nothing's wrong with me. And people that go to therapy get something messed up with them,
Yeah,
and it's not always the
it's
case.
not always the case, man. And there was a time in my life when I really needed therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be completely open,
You,
I needed therapy, and I needed somebody to make sure that I was getting to the next day.
I think therapy helps somebody understands a situation better or
That's right.
themselves better.
That's right. And that's the position that I've gotten to that I think a lot of people can benefit from. Your life, the way that I've started to look at it is your life is a maze of plants and hedges and trees that you planted when you were a child, and now you are navigating as an adult. That's what your life and your personality is. Right? So let's say, you're a kid and you're planting your maze, and I'm at you and your brother's house when I'm 5 years old, and I make a joke and you don't laugh. So I think, you know what? Maybe I'm not funny.
Hmm.
And I plant a little bit here and I water a little bit there. And the maze starts taking shape, and this becomes your mind. And when you come into your teenage years, the reason they're so difficult is because you are now being asked to navigate that mind that you have built in your adolescence. I used to think that the secret to my problems was getting a blowtorch and burning the thing down. There was a part of my personality that I didn't like. I was going to torch it. And that's what I kept looking for. That silver bullet, the right medication, the right whatever, the right
Somewhat
epiphany.
destructive.
But then I realized, in a lot of ways, you are who you are. The secret is, how do you better navigate the maze that you planted as a child?
Mm. Instead of blaming
Instead
or
of trying to change it,
mm.
a sometimes unchangeable thing, and then being disappointed at yourself for continuing to fall into those thought patterns. So now instead of, let's say you get to an intersection of the maze, instead of planting something new or burning something down, it's really about putting up a sign that says, hey, turn left. When you get to this point in your life, when something like this happens, you always turn right and nothing good comes of it. You get angry, you get depressed, you seclude yourself. Just this once, try turning left.
Mm.
And over time, the path beneath your feet, like walking on grass, will start to shape, and you'll start to turn left more naturally. What self-reflection and therapy help you do is it helps you put up signs. First, it's a piece of paper with some pencil scribbled on it. Then it's Sharpie. Then you print it out on some laminated thing. And soon, it's a big neon blinking,
It's a system now.
turn left, you idiot. And eventually, it's going to become a natural part of who you are. So you didn't structurally change some core part of your identity, because that's a never-ending, lifelong pursuit that's going to just lead to disappointment.
Yeah.
Instead, you got better at understanding yourself and navigating your own mind. And that's something that therapy can help you with. So I'm a big proponent of it. I think that if you have the means to be in therapy, you should do it. But therapy doesn't just come in the form of some,
Yeah, I think
PhD Stanford professor. Therapy can be with a mentor. It can be with a friend that you have developed an open dialogue with, that you can trust and share things with.
that's therapy. This is
That's therapy.
therapy.
This is therapy. This is
Just
therapy.
talking. So you're
Just
saying
talking.
just talk to somebody, a mentor, somebody you look up to,
Yeah.
somebody who might have more knowledge in this field.
Even if they don't, it can just you can even talk to this microphone stand. Talking helps you Understand
But a
yourself.
therapist will break it down like,
Correct.
you have
Yes.
this, you're doing this,
A
this.
therapist will understand patterns.
Right, right,
They'll
right, right.
understand. They've seen this before, just like any doctor would,
They are, they're
And
doctors.
they're,
They're in their field. They've
yeah,
seen patients like this before, and
they've
this
seen
is
it
what it
before.
is.
That's right. That's right.
For some therapists, though, they don't understand our culture. Every
Correct.
therapist I've ever had, like, oh, interesting.
That's correct. That's
It's like,
correct. I've actually found the therapists that I've been the most successful with have been Jewish therapists.
really?
They really understand our culture. They grew up in the same exact way.
I've just been
They
hitting white,
understand.
white, white,
No,
white.
no, no. Give it a shot. I mean, they have a strong sense of community.
Hmm.
Um, they understand obligations that you have to your family. They're
They're not very far from us.
they're not very far. They're our brothers, And so I've actually been, obviously this is anecdotal, but some of my most successful therapist relationships have been with my Jewish therapists. But yeah, it can be tough for them to understand culture. There's something that, for example, I always have a tough time getting across, even with my white friends, is my unwavering dedication and persistence in making myself proud, my family proud, my future children that haven't been born yet proud, and are very far away.
Gotta
my
get you married
I
first.
got to get married first. My brother's proud.
Yeah.
It is one of my driving forces. I want to make my family proud, and it's not in this like I'm doing something for my family way. I'm doing it for me. The achievement for my family matters to me.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's sometimes tough for them to understand.
Yeah.
But the important thing is for you to understand what your driving forces are, and if some people don't understand, as long as they respect you for the decisions you make, you're probably okay. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up mental health. I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought up that you had difficulties like that in high school
Oh
because
yeah.
I've had difficulties, but I was on the more, I guess, you crashed after high school kind of thing,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
for me, it was a more of a delay. So I remember you wanting to be this doctor.
Yeah.
You remember when you wanted to be a doctor?
That's right. That's right.
Dr. Ryan Jarouche.
That's right. That's
You
right.
were like this smart kid. You were super, like, dude, you were so smart. You were like so into things
Yeah.
and
Thanks, man.
so analytical and processing.
I
I want to
know.
do
I,
this. I
I
have these
really don't
big
know what
dreams.
happened to me. Yeah.
And I remember you asking me, like, hey, what do you think about me being? I'm like,
Yeah.
look, buddy, like,
Yeah.
I don't go to school. I'm not educated. I
Yeah.
don't believe in the school system like that. But
Yeah.
I think it would be great if you were a doctor. You have to do
Right.
something of this sense. But is this something that you want to do? And I
Right.
think you kind of always question that. And then how did you navigate from high school to college and
Yeah.
what I want to be, right?
Yeah.
So after you've kind of, let's say senior year, take me to your senior year. What's that thought process of who do I want to be next?
Yeah, I mean, senior year to be moving past the whole I barely graduated thing, and Michigan honored my acceptance, even though I had a rock bottom GPA my senior year. I didn't graduate with the honors and all that stuff that I had
No
worked so hard
4.0,
for.
no
The
boo boo boo.
definitely no 4.0. Um, and we can get back to some of the whole, school studying habits and things like that, which I think are really important. You hear a lot of people talk about, for
Yeah,
example,
let's talk about them.
school is easy for me. I don't have to study that hard. And I was the same way. I never really opened a book. There was public school. I was doing fine. What I didn't realize was that studying in school and getting from the 93% on the test to the 100% on the test isn't going to make a difference to your grade. It's going to teach you the discipline that you need in your everyday life
To be 100%.
to be the best that you can be. And that is something I completely missed. I
Mm.
wasn't an athlete. I didn't try in school. I had to build in this discipline, and I'm still working on it every single day. I'm still not as disciplined in my job and in my life as I need to be, as I could be.
Mm.
And I thought that the point was to achieve, and that's not true. Some people have an easier time achieving certain things than others. The point was to achieve as much as you can, because that is how you build the true discipline to keep working.
Because time's short.
Because it's yeah, and it's because anything worth doing is really hard. If you want to be successful in your career, it is some really, really hard work. There is nothing glamorous about it. There's nothing glamorous about all-nighters studying in college
Or editing all night and
or
doing
editing
this.
all night. There's nothing glamorous about failure in your career and somehow making it work after months and years
Not getting paid nothing.
and taking pay cuts, making no money and finding a way through. That is discipline. So I completely lacked that in high school. And if I could go back, there are a couple things I would change. Number one, I'd be nicer to my brothers. They turned out great, but I'm sure they're watching. I was, a little bit mean to them, especially Jadad, who was so close in age that I really just wanted more from him. And took me until I was 20 years old to realize, oh, he's just a different person than I am.
You got to accept that.
And that's okay. Yeah. And then the other one is I would work harder to instill the discipline in myself. And nobody really ever told me that. Nobody told me how important that was. But anyway, to get back to your original, so I finished high school. I made it to Michigan. I started taking all these pre-med classes. In
You did
Michigan.
start pre-med.
Oh yeah. I was on the bio major track and taken a couple of the chemistry and the bio classes, and I hated them. I was really, really unhappy. I was, very sad and anxious my entire freshman year. I loved being at Michigan.
Thinking, what am I doing?
Oh my God. I didn't know my roommate very well and we weren't that close. It was a random
I
placement.
stopped by a couple times. I remember.
Yeah, I
It's
wasn't
business.
that happy um and I hadn't made the really, really close friends that I eventually made in college, and I was miserable. And when I was at Michigan, I started learning about these different paths.
Hmm.
And I thought, similar to what you said, that I owed it to myself to be a doctor. And what I realized when I was at Michigan is I could find success, satisfaction, achievement in a lot of different places, and it wasn't doctor or bust. And thank God I was at Michigan. And this is why I love the University of Michigan so much. Uh, the fact that Michigan has so many top 5 and top 10 programs, it meant that I could switch off of this pre-med track and find a home somewhere else that would lead to the type of career that I wanted.
Hmm.
Right? We're top 5 in engineering and business and all these different things. And so I dropped pre-med. I told my parents, and they were supportive. My mom was my mom was mixed. I think she really wanted me to be a doctor,
Yeah, it's a high
and she was she
achievement.
was she
It's
was a
like
bit, yeah, she was a bit sad about
she
that.
believes probably you could do it, right? You
Right.
could probably do good in this.
I think so. And my dad was supportive.
Your dad's a businessman.
I remember when the first reaction he had was support. And I can't tell you how important that is. You can have whatever feelings you want to have. You can even share those feelings. But the first reaction you should have when somebody tells you something about a big decision is support,
Hmm.
acceptance. You can get into all the other stuff later. And
Right.
when he first showed me that sign of acceptance, I felt like this could be okay. I could be okay. What he later shared with me is that he was worried about me for a year and a half, that I would not find my way until the day I got my internship.
Huh.
And I
At Google.
at Google in San Francisco, and I called him, or in Mountain View, California, in the Bay Area, in Silicon Valley. I called him and I said that I got the job, and he was thrilled for me. They were paying me 30 grand for the summer. I was 21 years old. It's like this is amazing. My dad, and he shared with me after that. He was like, I got to be honest. I was worried about you for the past year and a half, and I didn't share it, but now I know that you're going to be okay.
So you switch over to business.
Switch over to economics. I was
Econ.
I was too late for the business school. We have the business program at Michigan is very you have to apply now as a senior in high school just to get in. So I was too late for
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
economics.
Economics.
How'd you find Google?
I joined this organization called AK Psi, Alpha Kappa Psi. It's a business fraternity,
Hmm.
and I met some incredible people. I met mentors, and then later I became a mentor. It was the most rewarding experience in college. Jed ended up doing the same thing.
And there's a Google headquarters in Ann
There was a
Arbor.
Google headquarters in Ann Arbor, and there was a girl named Haley Prasad.
Hmm.
Shout out Haley if you're watching.
Thank you, Haley.
Uh, she came to speak to us when we were joining the organization. She said she worked at Google in Ann Arbor, and if anybody wants a job at Google, please reach out. She's happy to help.
Oh, so she was picking you guys.
Yeah, I mean, that was the point of the organization. It was pay it forward culture. We're going to help you, and then when you are a senior, you're going to help those younger kids, and that's what I ended up doing, and I was lucky enough to be able to do. And
Oh,
so there are a host of AK Psy kids that are now at Google.
okay. We're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, pay it forward culture. It's very important.
So,
So I reached out to Haley and I said, hey, I've been wanting to work at Google since I was 14 years old. When I was pre-med, I wanted to be the doctor at Google. I wanted to be the doctor on campus.
who thinks like that?
Ever
Again?
since I got my first Android phone, it was a T-Mobile MyTouch 3G. I have wanted to work at Google. I have been obsessed
I'm
with
an
the
Apple guy.
company and every. I mean, it has always been. It was my bucket list job, and I got it when I was 21. So Haley helped me through the interview process, and it worked out. And I went to California June 20th, 2016, and I interned there, and it was the best summer of my life. That was a great summer for it. Was the Pokemon Go summer, if you remember that. I feel
Oh
like
yeah,
everybody was
I do
happy that
remember
summer.
that. Yeah, I
That was
didn't
a great
play
summer.
Pokemon Go, but I've seen
Everybody was happy
people
that
are
summer,
playing
man.
Pokemon
Everybody was
Go
happy
and
that summer.
the memes and stuff.
Yeah, so I the internship went really well. I did great in my internship. They gave me a full-time offer, and I showed up back to college my senior year with a job, and
In California.
I had a job in California. I showed up back to Ann Arbor for my senior year, so I had a job 12 months before I graduated, which was great. Which
You,
is the power of the internship, which I
how
always
was
encourage.
moving to California? Because it's like
Yeah, it's
moving fast,
it's
buddy.
different. It's different. That was the first time I really moved away from home.
Hmm.
Uh, my mom still cries when she thinks about it. Me getting on that plane. Uh, it was the adventure of a lifetime, man.
Yeah.
I think that everybody needs to do it. I'm all for people living close to their family and ending up close to their family, and inshallah, I will end up close to my family. But I think if you have the means and you have the opportunity to just spend a little bit of time away from your family, even if you're 10 miles away in your own place,
But like you said, put yourself in a really tough bucket, right?
yeah, challenge yourself.
Right.
You know, it's very different to be trying to build up your personality and your career and your whatever, and you're even your learning for college when you're eating mom's food and sleeping in a bed that your parents paid for and all these things. And then you gotta pay rent and you gotta pay your electric bill and you gotta figure out how to get groceries and
Oh, there's
feed
internet
yourself
and there's
and the internet. You gotta figure out when to work out and when to do different things. And it
time management.
really, time management, it really pushes you. And I had it good at Google, man.
Wait until you have kids, buddy.
And then yeah, that's the next
Wait till you
chapter.
have kids.
And man, the Google made it really easy. It's a great place to work. And California, I fell in love with. I feel differently about California now, candidly.
Yeah.
I like New York a lot more.
I love New York.
Yeah, it's just a better place, I think. But it was sunny and it was fun, and I loved my teammates at work. Um, and it was the last time in my life really where I felt like I didn't have to have that much figured out for the foreseeable future. I was
Just past
20, I was
college.
22, and I was just living my life. And that's obviously different now. Decisions have much higher consequences. But I did that. I did my first job at Google. I was on the digital marketing sales team for a year and a half,
Okay.
and then I switched into doing product marketing on Google Cloud up in the city. So I no longer had to take the
Can you go
bus.
back to your first job? What was it
Yeah,
again?
digital marketing
So
sales.
what do you do there? Like, do
I was
you
working with
you're Google,
yeah, I
right?
was working with small businesses on their digital presence.
Huh.
So their
Like
Google
SEOs
ads.
and stuff like that?
Yeah, SEM, search engine marketing. So their YouTube ads, their digital ads. Like I helped Jamil Barakat out with his Burkett stuff, for
So you'd
example.
come to me and say, "Hey, with your website, I can help you get this and get up to the top of the
Here's how
list."
you get more people onto your site. Here's how you make sure they're doing the right things when they get to your site.
Oh, so you
That type of stuff.
and then
And
your next job was
next job was product marketing for Google Cloud. So this was, and I was on the content and messaging team.
huh.
So this is a time when Google Cloud was trying to reposition itself as the third or top three player in the cloud space.
Who's
that
number
was
one?
previously dominated by AWS and Azure, Microsoft, and is still dominated by Amazon AWS and Microsoft Azure.
Still.
Still, Google Cloud is third. And they were trying to figure out, what is Google Cloud? What do we mean to customers? What is our bread and butter? And we had just gotten a new CEO named Thomas Curry, and he's still there doing a great job. Um, and we were trying to reshape the perception of Google Cloud. And I was on the content and messaging team, so I was really in the thick of it. I didn't love my job, but I was in this magical marketing
Yeah,
program.
you put yourself somewhere in a tough
It was exactly,
environment.
it challenged me, and this marketing program was amazing, man. They let me. I traveled the world. I think my first year I went to Korea, Singapore, London, bunch of places in the US. It was an amazing program.
Google team,
Yeah, all
all
paid for, all Google stuff, and it was amazing. I mean, that stretch of my life from 23 to the end of 24 was some of the best times of my life. And when I finished that, I knew I needed something way more quantitative and difficult.
mm,
I had done a lot of soft skill stuff, and Google had a lot more to offer. And so I joined the strategy and operations team for a team we call platforms and ecosystems marketing. So we do Android marketing, Google Chrome, Chromebooks, Google Play, all those types of products. And this is the best job I've had at Google. I have an incredible team. They are all way smarter than me. I mean, my two teammates that I work with directly are both. I just love the way that they think, and watching them operate is really amazing. I learned so much from them. And then my manager, and then my manager's manager, who actually hired me when I was first applying, are the two smartest people I've ever worked for. Smart in different ways, and I learned just by sitting in that room with them. And I would have never been in that situation if I didn't challenge myself and look for something new. Because I was
interesting.
great at my sales job, really good at my sales job. But that's what scared me about it. I mean, how could I be 22 years old and be this good at this job?
Mm-hmm.
That told me that I need to change course. So I went for this marketing program. I was unchallenged there. So I went to SNO, and I'm very challenged there. And then now it's time to look for something new. So
What are you thinking? So
I
you've been with Google for how long now?
6 years, six
How?
years. Yeah.
So you're 28?
I turned 28. I turned 28 in a week and a half. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Exciting, exciting.
Yeah. It's time. It's
Ooh.
time for something new. So I'll be leaving Google on around June 30th. I haven't really told anybody yet, so
This is kind of
surprise.
breaking news.
Kind of breaking news. Yeah. My team knows. My team helped me with the transition, but
What did your parents say?
my parents were worried. So I'll be going back to business school. I'll be getting my MBA.
Whoa,
Yeah.
where are you going? Back to Michigan?
No, I'm debating a few places right now, but I'll most likely end up in the city of Chicago.
Okay.
Chicago has two top programs. I was lucky enough to get into both, and I'm trying to decide which one is right for me. I have an idea of which one I'm going to go to, but the official date is Wednesday to submit, so I'm going to wait until Wednesday to know. But I'll probably either be at Northwestern Kellogg or U Chicago Booth business schools. So
What do you
yeah.
want to do after that?
Well, there's two reasons to do business school, right?
Okay.
I was, there's this misconception in our community that the degree is the point. You want to
Mm-hmm.
get degrees, you want to get educated,
Right. PhD, whatever it is, MBA.
right? And that's just not true, right? The MBA imagine you're an F1 car
Mm-hmm.
and you've taken 10 laps, and then you need a pit stop.
Yeah.
The MBA is the pit stop. And when you get to the pit, either you need to accelerate, so you just need gas, but your tires are good, everything is fine, you just need that last little bit of push in your career,
Mm-hmm.
or you need to pivot. I'm on soft tires, I got to be on hard tires, I need a new game plan, I need a new whatever, and that is the other option for the MBA. So I'm going with the latter. I'm going to pivot, and I probably will not return back to Google anytime soon. There are a few things I'm considering. I think that I want to go much more. Uh, I definitely want to go smaller. The big tech life, I think, has
Everybody goes from big to small.
yeah, it's losing its appeal to me, and I don't feel as challenged as I once did.
Right. You want to make more impact. You
I want
want
to
to
I want to make
change.
more impact. That's exactly right.
I've
So
seen a lot of big guys go to small
right,
companies flip them from $1 million a year to 50 million, 100 million. Like,
That's right. That's right. So it's either find a startup that I feel really passionate about and go be an operator there, which is my skill set, or something that really interests me is venture capital. Be an investor,
hmm,
invest in people and ideas that I'm passionate about, and help them grow from zero to hopefully something really great. And uh, so it's they're very different from what I currently do.
so it's not about the money.
It's not about the money. It's not about the money. Your career, if you do it correctly, is a J curve of earnings.
Hmm.
You start low and you make some pivots and you change some jobs. I could have been making a lot more money if I stayed in my sales job, for example, at my age. And then at some point, a combination of things click and you start to shoot up. And that's the real earnings.
Is that like the confidence in yourself? Is that the knowledge that you've gained and the experiences and
Or
kind of
right
all
place, right
cumulative?
time.
Hmm.
Right place, right time. You surround yourself with the right people in the right environments,
Right.
and then a little bit of luck happens, which is necessary, and then you shoot up. That's the J curve. So if you are in a situation where you're lucky enough, really, where you don't have family obligations or expenses or things like that need you to focus on the money in your 20s,
I feel like I'm at the J curve.
there you go.
Feel
You
like I
might be,
kind of broke free from
there
the
it is.
typical thought processes that I've had and the beliefs I have and the things I've done.
Yeah.
Like my mom will yell at me like, "What is this YouTube? What's gonna do for you?" And it's like,
Yeah.
Mom, believe me, the world's a much bigger place than you think it is.
Right, right.
And she's now mind boggled that she sees exactly what I do, and I think she's
Right,
like, "Oh, this is interesting." I'm like,
right.
wow, do all this,
There you go.
and yeah, she has a little bit more faith and more
There it is.
encouragement in me, but
There it
still
is.
the immigrants, first gen.
It's tough. I mean, telling my parents and I told some uncles and whatnot yesterday that I'm leaving Google. They were
Yeah,
shocked.
I'm a
Leave,
little shocked. I'm a little
leave,
shocked that you're telling everybody this.
yeah, leaving a job like this and the stability and the money and the lifestyle and
Google يا خيي
Google,
Google.
Google. I mean, it really is. I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky, but I I I don't want to be great. I want to be the best, and I've got to push myself and surround myself with certain people and environments to get there, man.
My fist bumpy for that.
Yeah.
So your dad is not a normal, typical Arab dad.
No, he's not.
You know, I hope to have him, your dad, Mohammed Fouad, here on the
Yeah.
podcast soon.
Yeah.
He is so smart, so
He
intelligent. I don't
is.
want to tell his story until we get him on, and we don't want to
Right.
waste too much of your time because how is it going with like somebody, a high achiever, like, Ziad's family that we were
Right.
talking about? It's, how is that? Like,
It's amazing, man. It really is a blessing. I know some people face some pressure from their family to be high achievers. My dad never put that on us. He has been incredibly supportive, um, and he leads by example.
hmm,
That
he's pretty
is
successful himself.
he's a successful guy, and similar to what I'm doing right now, he had a couple of different career decisions where he had to make a pivot and take a risk. It was a risk to come here. His brothers went to Brazil and they did very well in Brazil, and he came here and believed that this is where his future was, and he took a risk. And he was on that J curve, and eventually it hit. It hit for him. Um, so I'm very lucky
You look
to
up to
have
him a
my
lot.
dad. I look up to him very much, and he has become my friend more than just my dad. He's actually become more of my friend than my dad. I find myself arguing with him
That's how it should be,
like
but
my friend than my dad.
yeah.
Yeah, and he probably thinks I argue with him too much about politics and whatnot. But yeah, man, he really is. He's a great guy, and my earliest memories of him are working hard.
Hmm.
I remember when he was getting his MBA, he would be sitting in his office. He took a nighttime MBA, executive MBA, so he'd have a full day of work and then go to class at Michigan State at their business school,
That's right. He went to
a-
Michigan State.
and then come home and study. We're talking about three full-time things, and wouldn't get to sleep till God knows when, way past our
You guys are
bedtime.
young. He's raising
Oh my God!
kids. This
I
is a
mean,
hard time for me.
at that time, my mom was raising us alone.
Yeah.
He had those 2 years where she was raising us alone. And around 10 o'clock, she'd tell us, go say goodnight to your dad. We'd open the door quietly, Good night,
You
Dad.
remember this.
Good night. He'd close the door. We'd go to sleep.
And he go back to work on a new job.
And that's what we saw of our dad for those 2 years. And it has he went with the first path. It accelerated his career.
Mm.
He did that pit stop thing, and he really is. I think what my dad taught me, what I've noticed over the years is how much my personality has shifted to be like my dad's. I think I tell
Notice that
people,
too. The
I think
older I
I
get.
have the heart of my mom, but I have the personality of my dad. And one thing that he has always believed in, that is how I live my life too, is he does not settle for anything. He doesn't believe in statements like, that's just the way it is, or it is what it is, almost to a fault, but he does not settle. If there's something that can be changed or can be done, whether it's getting a new job or getting a raise
Right. There's another
or
direction.
getting an upgrade at a hotel,
Mm,
he is gonna get it done.
that's why your dad's great.
He knows,
That's the
he
secret
pushes
sauce.
where you can push. He'll feel it out, and when he'll find softness, he'll push. And when I was a kid, I hated it. I was embarrassed to go to Costco with him. I was embarrassed to check in at a hotel with him. It was awful. And now I see a
You
lot of
find
the,
some joy and
man,
humor to it.
it's me. I have turned into that. And my mom still gets annoyed by it, but
How's your mom, right? Your mom's from
yeah.
Ghazi.
Mom's from Brazil.
Is that weird that you have a like an outsider mom,
Oh, I
right?
love it. I love it. I love it. I think there's something really cool about having two families.
It is. It's
It's amazing.
you guys are very close when you go to Lebanon. You guys spend some time in Ghazi and you guys spend some time in Lucy.
Totally.
And it's
Totally.
like it's right there. Like you guys just stay in one place
It's
and
amazing. And even if it was further away, man, it's the idea of two families blending together. Some of my favorite days of my life, and they happen a couple times every single year, are when my mom's side of the family and my
mm,
dad's side of the family get together for a lunch or for a dinner. Those are my favorite days. And it always happens also the day that I leave Lebanon. They always get together to say goodbye to us. And there's just something so beautiful about it. And I see the positives and negatives of both sides. And um, it's something that I value very much. Yeah. I don't
mm.
know what the future is going to look like for me, but I really do. I really do like that.
I wish you the
Yeah.
best of luck for whoever your partner in the future is.
Thanks, man.
Do you have like speaking of marriage, do you
Yeah.
have you're in your prime. All the ladies are
So
wooed by
so they tell
you.
me. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you are a very attractive person.
Thank you.
I think your dad's more handsome, but
I agree. And yeah,
it's like,
I have two very good looking parents. Yeah.
uh,
I'm
I mean,
also the ugliest brother. So
I don't
for
think
everybody
so.
out there, look elsewhere. You're better off. Yeah.
Google,
Eh, they're fine.
it's over now. Like, ah, crap, he's back in school. Don't do
Ex-
it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, how's the market like for you? Do you want to get married? Is it something like you like? Do you like the
Yeah.
idea of marrying somebody in your culture?
I do like the idea of marrying somebody from my culture.
Do
But I
you? But
but
you
I
guys have like Ghazi and Sultan, so
but
it's not like
that's what it comes down to, is I have a different definition sometimes of what my culture is.
So what is your culture?
My
Lebanese?
culture are Lebanese would be a great place to start, but it could be Arab, it could be Muslim, it could be people who share my values.
Okay.
I don't look at my culture as having geographic boundaries.
Okay.
You know when you're with people who share your culture, who
Right.
share your values, your morality.
Right.
There are a lot of white people who share those things too. There are a lot of people from all over the place who share
Yeah.
those things.
Mormons are like really close. I'm just like my Mormon friends. I'm just like, hey, this is kind of like Islam, guys. I'm just telling you.
Right, right. There are, so my definition of culture is not geographic.
Hmm.
So that person can really come from anywhere. I
But
will
you
say
want
that,
Arabic speaking
oh, if
Muslim.
I had preference and I
Yeah.
could, wish upon a star and it could be what it is, yes,
Give
of
me a
course.
wish. Would
I
you
I
marry a Sultani?
if that's the way that it worked out, but it's not my goal.
Hmm.
Not even close to my goal. If it works out, great. But that's not what I look for,
Do
you
you
know,
look for somebody because you're a high achiever, kind of a high achiever woman?
without a doubt.
That's kind of the
Without a doubt. It's one of my, yeah,
like a lawyer or a doctor,
oh my
somebody who
God.
just got her head on straight, motivated,
Yeah.
go getter.
How amazing is that? How
Yeah.
amazing would that be? And that's something that's a little bit foreign in our culture as well, but I
Yeah, she's not gonna
love
be no
it.
Emil Clooney.
That's what I want.
Good
That is
luck.
what I want.
Not
Maybe
from
even her. I don't know. George, he's getting a
George
little
might
old.
drop the mic and you
I don't know, man.
die
But
and she might find you out in
yeah, but that's what I want. I want to be I want to build a life with somebody, and I want to travel the world and achieve amazing things, and push the boundaries of the life that we can live, um and that's going to take somebody who is as self-motivated and ambitious as me.
hmm
It's I think maybe the thing that I'm most attracted to in
Yeah.
somebody. So yeah, that would be that would be nice. And
I just
you
like
know,
people's perspective because it's like, how do you want to get? Who do you want?
yeah,
Like, what's your thought process? Because me going in was like, Sultani's number one,
I
right?
know, I know.
It's like,
You and a few people
but my
had that
mom and
thought.
from the Sultan, and she's very closed, and my
Yeah.
dad is
And
like
that's fine if that's what
open.
you want, man.
My dad, if I married anybody random, it could have been anybody in the world, and he'd be like, okay, right?
My dad is also more open than my mom. Yeah.
So, but my mom would be like,
Yeah.
different story. So I just would like your perspective, and I just kind of want to accumulate for all the youth and all the young guys.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what is Ryan thinking? Because he might be like, hey, dude, I'm thinking the same thing.
Right, and my preference might not be the same as everybody's. My preference is different from my brother's preferences.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know, it really is. But I'm looking for somebody with my shared values, and in a perfect world, ideally, yeah, the culture thing is a really big thing, and um, I just define it a little bit different.
Right.
You know, and we'll see. I mean, that's probably years away. I will say one thing that has changed though.
Okay.
I used to think that I was going to get to the point when I was ready for marriage, and that's when I would start getting really serious about things. Now I realize that that's really not productive.
There's no timeline. There's no push
It's
or
not just that there's no timeline. How beautiful would it be to meet somebody and grow with them? You know, I spent my entire life trying to be better, grow, fix myself.
that's some deep stuff, Ryan.
And I thought, okay, once I'm ready, once I'm done fixing who I am,
Mm.
I'll be ready to meet that girl, because that girl wouldn't give the broken me 1 second of her time. And now I realized how wrong that is. The right person and you will grow together.
Mm.
I've been lucky enough to live in some of the biggest cities in America. I have opportunities to meet people, and I have changed my perspective on this a little bit, that I can meet somebody that I can grow with and experience life with before marriage and before kids and all these things. So yeah, I still make the joke to my mom that I'm 10 years away. And she gets really mad when I say that. She thinks like my cat is staying alive until like one of us has a grandchild. She's really set on that. But
You never know when it happens, dude.
the truth is, I could meet somebody walking in my car right now,
A little bit of luck.
and a little bit of luck.
All you need is a little bit of luck, and she'll be right there, catch your eye. And
That's right, man. That's right. So we'll see how that goes. But
I'm really
yeah,
curious how it's gonna go for you in your MBA business side. Yeah, you can
yeah.
touch it. You can touch it. I'm like, that's a roller coaster I want to watch. You know what I mean? I want you to put a camera on top of
It's
your
gonna be a lot of
head,
fun, man.
and I want to
It's gonna be a
see
lot
what.
of hard work and a lot of fun.
Because I'm pivoting now, right? I'm
Yeah,
pivoting
yeah.
into the YouTube area. I'm pivoting
It's
into things
scary.
I do not know very
Right.
well,
That is the biggest thing.
right?
I need to take 2 years to learn. And you can learn when you have a full-time job, especially one like at Google, where I have a lot of flexibility in my work and I have mostly a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's a matter of focus. When you're getting your MBA or whatever it might be, you're taking the time, you are primarily focused on up-leveling yourself, learning new things, being in a new environment, trying new things, and you need the time to do that.
Yeah.
I had an option to also do a 1 year MBA program over in France,
Yeah.
and I'm probably gonna say no to them, because 1 year is not enough. I need the time.
And
Um,
Chicago's close to you guys. You can see home
Chicago's close
more.
to here. I'll probably be home the exact same amount, but the difference is my mom can come see me
Yeah.
if she wants
It's a
to see
three,
me.
4 hour drive.
It's the 3 4 hour drive or the 4 hour train. So my mom being close, I think is really good. So she was happy that I wasn't going to be in Boston or
Somewhere too
Philadelphia
far,
or somewhere
too
like that.
difficult to get to, or
Yeah, yeah. So that's that. But It'll be an exciting time, man. I have a lot of growing to do, a lot of learning to do. There's the place that I want to be and the place that I am now, and there's a big path there. The great news is I think I figured out how to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And that is as much as I can ask for right now, man. I have the clarity, I have the path. I'm a very pragmatic person, so I'm excited about that step. I'll fill you in every time I come home on how it's going. Yeah.
I'm very excited to see that. I wish I got to see you a little bit more in New York because I know all the like our friends and family
Yeah.
went to Google and like we're filling up on all the food and all the stuff and going in the kitchen and they were essentially robbing the place.
They were robbing the place. That's
They,
why that's why we had to do the cuts. They took too many chips. Yeah. No, it's a magical place to
yeah,
work, man.
Google, man, that's a tough job, and I
Yeah.
can't wait to get another podcast or interview with you in the future
Yeah.
and see the 50-year-old Rayan, right? The I'm married. I can't believe I thought like this or I did this. And, like we got you before and we can get you now. But
Yeah.
no, I'm glad you came and I hope you feel better. And
Thank you, man.
we
Thank
all
you.
wish to see you at Sultan Club
Thank you, man.
as much as you can. And those 4 times a year you can stop
I,
in.
I
And
I try to come back as often as I can. It's an important community to me. I know I'm not as involved in it as other people can be.
Mhm.
And it's not a perfect community. Sultan Club, there's work to be done. Um,
Let
but
me get your viewpoint then before we
yeah,
go of what's your perspective of Sultan Club? Do we do a good
yeah.
job? Do we need to do this? Hey, I wish, I don't know.
I think there's a delicate balance of understanding where we take things for granted and identifying that we are further than a lot of communities are, even for Lebanese and Sultani communities around the world. So
Yeah, the Jewish community is like,
they're number one.
right.
They are number one. I mean, there's so much we can learn from them, and that's actually something that my cousins and I talk about this all the time. How much we can model off of their community. I mean, I have countless very close Jewish friends, and I've learned so much about community from them. And there's
Mm-hmm.
a lot that we can adopt. Um, so there's the like foundation of we are very lucky. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves on, bashing things and the way things could be. Let's understand how much we have achieved as a community here through something like Sultan Club. But I think what's missing really is Sultan Club needs to be run more like a business.
Yeah, I think that
That's
too.
really what this to me comes down to. In other words, not all about revenue and cost, but rather understanding what are the pillars of this group.
Yeah, who are your customers?
What
Who
are
are
we
the people?
trying to do?
Right, direction and
Yeah, what are the areas, here are the 4 things that Sultan Club will mean. Community service, whatever it might be. Based on the things that we know our community wants. So that's user discovery and customer discovery. Then here are the pillars that we think that Sultan Club can have an outsized impact on driving that our community members aren't necessarily going to get from other places. And then it's what are the 3 or 4 things that we want to do in the next couple of years and how do we get there? What are
mm-hmm.
we already doing well? What do we need to do better? How do we measure if this is going well?
Right.
Right? So these are the basic things that any organization does.
So you gotta tell me I gotta collect data too. We
You
could
got to
barely
get
take
very,
pictures, man. We
very
could.
basic data. Very basic data. I can help you guys do it. It's very basic stuff. And we need to start learning how to grow this organization in the right way. There's, for example, a really um, gaping hole that I think exists in a lot of Arab communities,
Which is?
which is mentorship,
Hmm.
structured, organized mentorship for people who are looking for somebody to guide them that isn't their cousin, where there are family dynamics at play. It isn't their brother that's gonna, make fun of them along the way. Just looking for a friend
Mm-hmm.
that can help guide them in their career and their social life.
And
That
that
can
has a
that
network and
that
that
has a
has
network that can
opportunities.
hold them accountable.
Mm-hmm.
That mentorship thing is missing. That's a very basic example that comes off the top of my head, but that's the Sultan Club thing. So I'm very thankful for Sultan Club and the fact that we had that just an hour away growing up and we had a place that we can go and see all of our friends and family. That is such a blessing, man.
It is.
But and I hope it continues. But we got to get more serious about how we're going to develop this community.
I'd like to see you on the board one
I
day, or
would
you
love to.
come in and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna make this into Google. This is what we use. This is what we did." just to give us like we need, I think, all the successful people we can put them together in a room to give us that drive and that direction. And I don't think we're all there yet.
No.
We're all about in our 30s or touching about to touch
Right.
30 or in our 20s.
Right.
But 10, 20 years from now, when these other old guys kind of
Right.
just, I don't want to say get out of the way, but still build the bricks,
Right.
building blocks that we just, maybe need. We
And so
needed to renovate. We needed to
correct.
infrastructure.
And Sultan Club only recently entered this transition phase.
It
Up
did.
until
Probably
now,
10
I mean, when
years,
I
maybe the
when I
last
when I
10
was a
years.
kid, Sultan Club was a place that you can get your kids off the streets and put them all in some
Yeah,
hall.
there was a direction. We knew what it was.
That was it. It was this center.
Social hall.
That's right.
Place we go socialize.
Now we're in the different phase. How can this community help our young people and our old people alike?
Mm,
What do they want from this community? What can we deliver via this community? And that's a much, much tougher question. And we can only ask that question by being successful in phase one. But if we stay in phase one for too long, the community is going to get stagnant,
mm,
and the younger generation isn't going to value it the same way that the older people might have,
yeah,
and they're going to lose interest.
right.
And then it's going to become tougher. It's like in business. When you lose a customer, it's much more difficult to get them back than getting somebody for the first time.
It is.
Getting back a lost customer is really tough. Why? Because they had reasons why they left. And you gotta somehow solve those reasons.
And
And
not just, yeah, to go back and then sell him on the
and
idea.
oftentimes those reasons are fundamental to what the organization has become. That's the way it is for a lot of aspects of our community, from our religion to our community to whatever it is. We need to make sure we have a vision and a pathway for everybody, because if we lose them, they are somewhat justified in believing that there is something missing, that is a deal breaker for them, that they cannot find their way back into the community. So we owe it to them to be more intentional about this. So it's a never-ending process. The exciting thing about it is, if it works and if we get better, think about how what it
Yeah, I
would
didn't
do.
think about that.
What would it do for our community?
It would jump. The
Think
J
about that.
effect, right?
Think about that. It would be the hockey stick J curve growth of satisfaction and a sense of home that our community members
Yeah.
feel.
We could support our community and all the youth and all the members to
Yeah,
increase
yeah,
and get better, or we can ignore things and not do anything, get stagnant,
right.
lose customers,
And
and
we are really struggling with it,
fail.
man, compared to other communities. I have, we talked a little bit about my Jewish friends and all the resources that they have, and the camps that they go to when they're kids, and the community centers through their
They
synagogues and
have
through
programs, they have
programs. You should see
beliefs,
on
they have.
campus what the stuff that they have. But it's not just them. My Latino friends have similar things. Maybe not as developed, but similar.
I feel like that's more us, right? We're not a religion, we're a group of people.
Right, right. We're a community.
Right.
My black friends have these things that are now starting and growing really quickly, professional organizations and leadership programs, and we're lacking it a little bit. And I think, last thing I really want to say on this is, we need to really get over this obsession we have in the Arab community of us versus them.
What do you mean?
We tend to prioritize
Like us versus the American, us versus the
us
Jewish
versus
community?
other Arab.
Mm. That's
We
called kibber. You know
we
what kibber is? When you
we
think you're better than somebody.
we it's not even better. We're almost afraid of them. We
That's what
we
it
we, we
is.
care about our close group, and we worry about branching out too much. We're afraid of our brothers in different villages in the same country. I
Praying the same with the same people. It's all
praying with the same
Islam.
people. You know what I see Sultan Club as?
Hmm.
I see it as being a beacon and a model community center for Arab Americans.
You see that,
That's what I see in Sultan Club,
but it's not.
but it's not. And it can stay Sultan Club. It can stay all of these things that we love about it. But, with this mentorship program, for example, how cool would it be to have an offering for any Arab American that's living in Toledo?
Yeah.
How, to be the
That can
type of,
branch out and grow our
oh my
community
God.
in an outside perspective
That's
because
exactly
we're
right.
impacting the outside, not necessarily inside.
And think about how much we have to learn from them.
Yeah,
We
that's
have a, we have a
why.
we have a lot to learn from them.
Yeah, because we're in this system. At the end of the day, if we're going to
Yeah,
go to private Arabic school and only go to have Sultani friends and only
that's right.
Sultan Club this and just stay at home, it's like, how are you going to open up a business and sell pizza? How are you going to open
I
up
mean,
and do?
that's like a business that's only selling to this side of the
Yeah, there's
street.
not that
It's
many
like, guys, go
customers.
across the street. The other side of the street, it's right there. We're holding ourselves back. We have this huge us versus them mentality. Um, and we really got to get over it. And it's not even just us. I think Lebanese people have it in general,
Mm,
in regards to other Arab communities.
right?
I feel it in New York all the time.
The Lebanese stay together.
My God, yeah. And it's really problematic because we are limiting ourselves to opportunities and to greater communities. We are trying to uh, make it in this country.
Hmm.
We're trying to make sure that our values last and are
Yeah,
passed down to our kids.
right.
That is only going to happen by being uh, by expanding and by being welcoming, not by constricting in every way. Whether it's what does this religion mean to us in 2023? What does our community represent? Who do we interact with? Who do we pray next to? Who are we friends with? We're only going to be able to grow as a community and up level our community by expanding,
Mm,
not by contracting. That is the truth. And it's easier said than done.
yeah,
It's tough to be focused when your goal is everything.
yeah.
Um, but I think we can start somewhere and go from there. But we need to start treating our Sultan Club community more like a business and thinking about it in a more proactive, uh, intentional way,
Hmm.
and not just some place that you dump your kids and you hope that in 20 years they end up as good people.
Or back to where you are
But
standing.
back to where, yeah, it just doesn't work that way. But anyway, I'm not an expert. One day, we'll talk about it
Yeah,
in a
I
little
think
while. But
we need to talk about it or else we just don't know, right? You've never
right.
been to a meeting, nobody's ever heard this kind of direction or view. So it's
And maybe
it's
that's why I have it, because I've
exactly
never been to the meetings. That's
right.
that's the beauty of the outsider perspective, is the
Yeah.
outsider hasn't spent any time in the sludge of groupthink that
Yeah.
develops in stagnant
And
organizations.
we are stagnant.
We're stagnant. You bring in an outsider who's never thought about these problems in that way,
Mm,
that reminds you of the truth or of another way of thinking that seems so foreign to you. So that is a big part of it. I totally agree.
I just want to try to grow our community, right? I
Yeah.
want to let them understand, give them all the knowledge they need because sometimes I feel like I walk in, I'm the only guy that talks a certain way or walks a certain
Yeah.
way or thinks a certain way and it's just like, dude, I know this. I'm not the only one here, right?
Yeah. You know what's really interesting? We measure the success of Sultan Club sometimes in how many people showed up to yesterday's event. That is not the way to measure success of Sultan Club. The measure of success is how many kids, how many young kids and young men and young women in our community would confidently say to you, Sultan Club is one of the best parts about my life. It changed my life.
Mm.
My Sultan Club mentor, my community,
The
my
programs
cousins,
we
the
have.
programs changed my life. I love Sultan Club. That's the measure. They don't have to show up for Thanksgiving dinner. You don't have to have somebody there every single day. That's not the point. This is not a participation game. We're not trying to shackle people to some building.
Yeah, you got to show up every
We're
Saturday
trying to
or
build a community here, right? And with that, membership will grow and people will start to come and they'll see the value of these things, because this organization that I get so much out of in all these different ways is meeting up on Saturday for a dinner, and I want to go see my friends.
Mhm.
That'll happen, but we're skipping a step. We're trying to tie you to some building on some day. That's not the measure of success of this thing. So yeah, I mean, it's something that I want to learn more about and think more about, and but we got some work to do, man.
We definitely do. And I hope people that are watching this also find like the effort we're trying to put in by
Right.
putting this podcast together, by communicating
Oh,
and
this is so important.
right.
This is so important. How many people do you know at Sultan? Maybe this is a me thing because we grew up from outside of the community,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a little bit outside. But how many people do you just see but don't know? You see them walking around, you say hi to them, you chit chat a little bit there. Are you married yet? Blah blah blah.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the normal chit chat, but you don't really know. You don't know them as people.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know the impact that they might be able to have on your lives.
Mm-hmm.
It's or for our older community members, questions that we've never asked or we've been afraid to ask. It helps you understand your community better. So I love what you're doing here, man. And I
Thank you, man.
texted you this
I appreciate it.
right when you started the
You
podcast.
did. You did.
The spotlight on community members has been amazing. The realness that you guys are talking about on here is really, really great and very effective. I feel like I understand people better.
Mm-hmm.
And
You
these are
understand their story, or you heard something that
I understand their story. And then in some cases I get to see my friends on this and I get to learn more about even my close friends
that you didn't know about.
that I didn't know about or that I've never, you know, wanted to approach
Mm-hmm.
because it's a tough topic or
Right.
because you know, when we're playing basketball, it's not really something we're going to talk about. So, I love what you're doing here, man.
Thank you.
I'm your number one fan and
I
I
appreciate
hope you
that.
keep doing it for a while. Seriously. And any help you need on this, just let me know.
Hopefully they start paying me, but hopefully YouTube starts making enough money I get paid.
Yeah.
Guys, I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope we as a community can find something in this discussion and make something out of it at the end of
Yeah.
the day.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so
My
much.
man. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, man.
Thanks, buddy. All right, guys, take care.